when Keep Yourself Alive came out was I happened to be a bit of a freak on phasing, you know, and that was the first thing that I picked up from that. Was that your own idea to do all that stuff?
Oh yes, yeah. We just about do all our own production. We have Roy Baker, who sort of co-produces with us, and all the 4 albums have been a co-production with him.
Do you feel that Night at the Opera is perhaps you've reached a climax at a certain stage in your career? Because I believe it's definitely the best that you've ever done.
Thanks.
Yes.
I think it's possibly the peak so far because it's the most successful. But I mean, we hope we're going to get better.
We get a different peak. It is going to be difficult, especially with Bohemian Rhapsody being as large.
Well, a kid wrote me a letter about that and said, I study demonology and satanic things. Why do they use Beelzebub? And I suppose that's a legitimate question.
Why do we use it?
Yeah.
It's just why do we use anything? I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean I study demonology and things. I just love the word Beelzebub. I mean, it's a great word, isn't it?
Very camp word when you look at it. Actually, the letter was signed with a cloven hoof at the time. What is that?
The same sect. I belong to that.
Somebody's sticking pins in effigies somewhere.
The next single that's coming off Night at the Opera is You're My Best Friend, I understand. And already we're getting a lot of requests for that. But it's entirely different in structure to Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's what makes the album attractive to me, is that
This
right?
is John's song.
Yeah. John wrote.
Yes, because I mean that's probably one thing in the group that we all do right, which lends to the variety of our albums. You know, it's a very good thing, I think.
There have been several songs on your albums that have been involved with death and all this sort of stuff. Is that just an accidental thing, or?
That's Freddie's morbid mind.
One of my docile moods, actually. Yeah.
There's a thing that everybody, I suppose, is going to be wondering about, the campness of the act. That was one of the things I read in the pop press in England, that the act was a little bit camp and all this stuff.
It's not really camp, you know. It's rock and roll, and it's very visual as well. There's a lot of rock and roll music there. And
I think it's the same as the variety content that we have on the album. We try and put that across on stage. So I mean, each song that we do has a different sort of meaning to it. So I mean, you know, it is rock and roll as a sort of label, but within that, I mean, each song has a different.
Would you say it was rock and roll with theatre?
Yes, you could call it that. I mean, it's very difficult to label because each song is in a different sort of category, really. I mean, from the 1920s vaudeville to the heavy, the real sort of raw rock and roll to the ballad to, you know.